my friends, my name is Stephanie Barnard and I am the designer for Sizzix that came up with the stand-up framelit cards. Now these are really fun and they look adorable when they're on your mantle or on your bookshelf because they literally stand up, which is so much fun. But can you imagine taking this same die set and instead of making it a stand-up card, making it a gatefold card like that? No extra things required, it's just a different way to cut it. So I'm here today to share with you this technique. Now it's funny because this technique I came up with literally about 3 days before the big CHA trade show where we were debuting these cards. And I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, I was working in here and all of a sudden I came up with this technique and I went, ah! And everyone in my house was asleep. And I was so disappointed because I wanted somebody to see how incredible this was. So I shared it at CHA and everybody was like, it was so fun. I had a whole bunch of store owners and representatives for Sizzix reps around and I showed them how to do it and they're like, oh, and you could hear everybody go, oh, and it was just so much fun. So I'm really excited about this technique. I mean, because in all honesty, the stand-up cards themselves are really fantastic and fun. But this just takes it to the next level. So not only are you getting a stand-up die and probably 18 other dies in the kit, you're also getting the ability to make the gatefold cards. So here's the gatefold card again. This is a standard A2 size when finished. So literally you can open it up and one of the dies, one of the stand-up sets does have the words happy birthday with the shadow in it. But isn't that fun? And here's another example. This one I'm not completely done with. This is one of the classes that I teach also. But this one says miss you and then you open it up and then you can have your message on the inside. So this one's not completely finished, but I just wanted to show you 2 samples. So right now I have 3 dies that this will work with. Coming soon are more designs, which is so exciting. So this one has 22 dies with it. And this one is called the Royal card. This one has 19 dies with it, and this is the Elegant card. And this one has 22 dies, and this is called the Regal card. Now these have tons of different dies in them, including the storage envelope and lots of words with the shadows. So much fun. So the one we're going to use today for this technique, and it works for all of them, but this is just the one I grabbed that was open. It has 19 dies, and this is the Elegant one. Now, when you hear 19 dies, do not be overwhelmed. The main dies that you're going to use when you're doing a stand-up or a gatefold are the 3 largest dies. Now that's also true for my flip it dies as well as my triplet dies. Always get the 3 largest dies, the rest are just embellishments. So don't get overwhelmed by hearing there's so many dies. The 3 largest are always what you're going to be using. Now, when we make a stand-up card, this would be our base, this would be our panel piece, and this would be our panel piece also. So much fun. But we're going to do something a little different with this one. Now normally I like to say I never measure. I do not like math. I'm not a fan of math. People always come up to me at conventions and say, can I ask you a question? And you know what my response always is? Yes, as long as it's not math related. Because in all honesty, I'll answer anything, and I really do answer anything, but as long as it's not math related, because I'm not a math person. So this is our base die. This is going to be our main focus. But we need to cut 2 pieces of cardstock. I do use cardstock for my bases. They're stronger and they're cheaper, so why not? We're going to cover them with our pretty pattern paper with those layers. So I need to cut 2 pieces of cardstock. Now normally these cards fold to 8.5 by 11, standard US card size. That's 4 1/4 by 5.5 when it's folded. But for this technique, I want to cut my paper a smidgen smaller than 5.5 inches. So this is 8.5 inches here, from here to here. But from here to here is a smidgen smaller than 5.5. So you can see the blade is there, and I'm inside the blades, okay? That's your tip. Under 5.5 inches, 8.5 inches, okay? So now we're gonna take this over to our machine. Now normally with the stand-up cards, you would want to use your larger platform. But for this technique, we don't need to. So I'm gonna use my magnetic platform because it's the best invention in the world. And I'm gonna take 1 of these, because we're gonna do 1 at a time. Normally you can, with framelits, you can cut 2 at a time, but because we're using a score line, we only wanna do 1 at a time. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm only gonna use half of this die to create this. So I'm gonna move this off to the side just a little bit, and I'm gonna thread my paper through the die. Now when I say thread, I literally mean I'm gonna go through the die. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ignore the outer edge blade. Right here, I'm gonna ignore that. I'm not gonna go under it. I'm gonna go over it, and I'm gonna thread it to the inside of my die, to the center where the numbering is, right there. I'm not gonna go under the center. I'm gonna stop right there. See how it kind of stops? I'm gonna stop right there. And I'm gonna make sure that this is really straight in my die. So I wanna make sure that it's nice and straight. Okay, so I'm to the center, I'm under the fancy edge, and I'm over this edge over here. That's very important. And I'm sticking out. I am not under all of the die. So the belly button part right here that cuts the little belly button notch, I'm not using that part of the die at all. I'm just using half of the die and I'm sticking out, okay? And I'm gonna skew it just a little bit because we don't want any weird things happening. So center mark, and sometimes I'll even take, and I don't have it, let's see, I might even have a Sharpie in here. Let's find a Sharpie because this will help you see. Let's see, I know I have one in there. There we go. That's my center mark right there. I'm going to actually put that on my die. Feel free to do that. That's your center mark of your stand-up die. But that's going to tell you to stop. And on one of my class sets, I even wrote stop. So right there, we're stopping. We're not going under this, okay? We're lined up. We're over this. And then we're going to take our next cutting pad. And, oh, here's a little one. And we're going to run this through. Okay? Just like that. And where it's above the die, it's going to create a crease line for us, which is fabulous because we need that crease line. So we're going to pop this out. And so now we have the shape here and we have the crease here. And you know what? We're going to do the exact same thing again. So we're going to thread this into the machine. Remember, we're going to thread our cardstock under the fancy part, right to the center, above this edge, okay? We're threading it through, and we're gonna run it through again. Easy peasy, okay? I was so proud of myself when I came up with this. Okay, so now we have two pieces. Before we go on, I wanna cut a couple panels. We're mainly gonna need just, let's see, let me double check myself here. Yeah, we're gonna need 2 of these. So let's do 2 at a time. Let's trim this one really quick. That way it'll save us a couple minutes or a couple seconds of doing this again. Because when you don't have a score line, you can definitely cut 2 at a time. So we're gonna grab this one and grab that one. And I have 2 layers of paper under me. So I'm even faster than you think. I'm gonna run that through. The cracking is normal. That's just the cutting pad being cut by the blades. The blades have to go somewhere. You have so much pressure in this machine. And we were cutting 2 at a time. So let's move that all off to the side and let's bring our cards in. So now we have all of our cut pieces. We have our blade. We have our card. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold on that score line that the die created for us, which was so nice of it, wasn't it? We're gonna score that. We're gonna score this one. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take some adhesive and we're gonna add it to the inside of one of these. And I would use pretty strong adhesive for this. You don't have to use the strongest you have, but we wanna make sure it's pretty strong because we're going to take this, and let me show you. So I have my flat edge, my solid edge, and my solid, and I'm just going to lay those right on top of each other. Line them up, spend an extra second to line them up, okay? And we're gonna fold those in. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold these out. Da, 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 da. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? Okay, now we're gonna add some of our little panels. Oh, and I just ran out of adhesive. Of course, huh? We'll use this one. So we're just gonna add some adhesive to these. And you'd add a little bit more adhesive than me. I'm just showing you quickly. You don't wanna watch me glue all day, do you? And we're gonna add some adhesive to this one. Oops, wrong way. Okay, now you're starting to see it, aren't you? And oh, that one's really crooked. Oh my word, that was the most crooked I've ever placed on there. And this adhesive is very, very strong, so let's see if I can survive this one. I think we saved it. And then for the inside, we have these two panel pieces. Ooh, let's do pink. Can never have too much pink, right? Okay, so we'll add this one to the inside here. I think you're really starting to get it now, aren't you? See how those panel pieces line up so great? And we're going to add adhesive to this one. Add that adhesive right there. Okay, so now you're getting it. So now we have our gatefold card. Now, of course, I have lots of shapes. There's shapes in this set that match. There's also a framelit set that matches and a flip it card that matches. So we could add any kind of different fun shapes in the center here. But now you can see when I open this up, I have a gatefold card instead of a stand-up card. Isn't that fabulous? So next time you're thinking, gosh, I wish I could do a stand-up card, but I don't want to do a stand-up card because I gave her a stand-up card last time. I will make the same die into a gatefold card and have tons of fun. Thanks so much. I'm Stephanie Barnard, and thanks for joining me on this fun trip to make a stand-up card, a gatefold card. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.